Artemis Fowl.
You've grown strong, son. And smarter than I ever imagined.
Then take me with you.
You're all I have now, Artie. There's just one very important thing I have to do.
Authorities launched a worldwide manhunt for the famous collector. He is suspected to have been behind some of the biggest robberies ever.
Dad. Hello?
Your family has taken something of great value from us. Return it to me or I will destroy everything you love.
You weren't supposed to see this yet. Your father is in a complicated profession. For years, he has protected powerful secrets that have kept mankind safe from the dangers of another world. It's time to face your destiny.
Now look around, this is what they call greatness.
But we are not alone in this.
Mulch Diggum's just a talented giant dwarf.
And I'm Holly Short, your ally on the other side. It's real. All right. Save my father. Save the world.
Whole team ready, tell them we on deck.
Scared, Artemis?
I prefer scared to dead.
An army is coming.
You think you can beat us?
We'll see.
Who do you think you are?
I'm the next criminal mastermind.
Now look around, this is what they call greatness.
I didn't read much on trolls. Anything I should look out for?
The teeth.
They eat people. Good to know.
Hello, everybody. And, hello, everybody. I don't know if it picked up my beginning section, but hello, everybody, and welcome to, finally, another movie review. I haven't done many of these. I'm going to try to do more of them, because I like doing them. It's not overly complicated to do these. I just kind of have pictures on the screen while I talk, but, I want to do them more. One of my favorite movie reviews, despite the movie itself, was actually The Lion King. One of my favorites because it was a good example of in-depth talking about a movie that kind of really doesn't have a lot behind it in certain aspects. But anyway, we're here to talk about another Disney movie called Artemis Fowl. There's a lot about this movie. I looked up online because I remember hearing some stuff. This movie has been in the works for 19 years, and it has a lot of issues. It went through 3 directors, a couple of writers, a lot of stuff happened. And then when the Fox Disney thing happened, this got pushed back. And then when COVID hit, this got pushed back even further to the point where it never released in theaters. And it just got thrown on Disney Plus. Now, unfortunately, this movie feels heavily like a Disney Plus movie or a side movie. I enjoyed it, though. Don't get me wrong. It was enjoyable. But I have some major issues. So I'll get my basic review out of the way, give you a letter grade, and then I'm going to go into more in-depth stuff. But first off, this movie felt more like a pilot to a TV show than anything. And that involves a little bit of spoilers, but I'll talk about that later. I don't know how you can get this past. A movie is not meant to be a pilot. A movie is meant to be a movie. You have a compelling villain. You have compelling characters. You give backstory to those characters. And then you wrap it all up in the end. Now, leaving cliffhangers is understandably a occasional hazard with movies, making sequels and such. But not for the sense of who knows how many movies, not like 10 or so. And I don't know much about the Artemis Fowl book series, but from what I saw, there are multiple books. And this kind of felt like a way for them to start off that for either a TV show or more movies to come. And I highly doubt with a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes last time I checked, this movie will get another movie. So, and I do have to admit, I do like this picture here with the Artemis Fowl with the glasses. This always interests me when I saw the poster for it. I was like, what could this be? Honestly, it's actually very relatable to the movie itself. It's shockingly very on point, which that's just basically, those symbols are another language in a sense. But unfortunately, when it comes to this movie, there were several characters that had nothing behind them. They literally brought in this entire other character that was set up. They were like, oh, Artemis needs another character, someone to help him. And who better than another 12-year-old, which I'm guessing is a big character in the book series, maybe. Which, if they're thinking long-term plans, TV shows, more movies, it's good to introduce the characters as fast as you can, so that you can have them later. She was completely useless. She barely helped anywhere. She was barely in the movie, and she just really did not do anything. And that's just a thing that I am not very happy about. Sorry, there are noises in the background, and it's very irritating because when I started recording this, there were no noises. And now I have to deal with these noises and possibly have to edit stuff out or re-record because some of the noises are not pleasant. Anyway, it's just irritating noises. If you can't hear them, that's good. But yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to that, why bring in this character? She was not helpful. She literally did nothing. Artemis figured out 90% of this stuff and came up with an entire plan by himself, with help from no one. He did not need another character to be brought in. So she was useless. Did I mind? No, I didn't care. But when you really look at it, it didn't really do anything. The villain really wasn't in it much as well. The villain was just there. The villain also gets someone else to help the villain, and that person was completely useless as well. No compelling villains. They are great. Josh Gad is in this. I forgot the father of Artemis Fowl, but they're both great actors. And the kids weren't bad. And there's other actors too. There's one more actor I remember. I don't remember her name. Unfortunately, she was in the recent Cats movie that came out last year. That did not go over well. But it's just like, why? Why do this? Why put characters in a movie when they have no impact? Why put a villain in a movie when they have no impact? So, I'm going to give this movie a C-. And I have to, because as much as I did enjoy watching it, I was interested. I enjoyed watching it. It was fun. There's a lot of charm to the movie, in my opinion. But when it comes to story, this movie doesn't have a lot to go on. It's like if you were to take a movie series, let's say Pirates of the Caribbean. And let's say the first one, for example, was about the Black Pearl. It's literally Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, or something like that. Let's imagine they split that movie up into a couple of movies, right? The first movie ended when Jack first is on board the Black Pearl again. That was their whole goal, to get to the Black Pearl, right? And they extend it out and stretch it to fit about an hour and a half worth of content just to get to the Black Pearl. Do you see what I'm saying? Or a Scooby-Doo movie, for example. Just a blank slate of a Scooby-Doo movie where they have to find the culprit, right? Well, let's say the first a 3-film franchise of one story. And the first one ends when they find their first clue. And it's a very, very big clue, big enough to last until the next movie. at least an hour and a half worth of content. The second one is then the second clue, and the third one they reveal who it is. Which I'm pretty sure by the end of the first one, people probably would know. But see, that's the kind of thing that this feels like. It feels like them taking a story, cutting it up, and only having a very snidbit, tiny piece of that story be the story. And they literally come up with excuses. I mean, the guy who's helping the villain literally brings in a creature for them to have a fight scene throughout Artemis Fowl's house and destroy it. And they set up that creature in another scene earlier in the movie. And that's about it for that creature. Not having, brought back, at least they set it up. But still, they had at least probably 20 to 30 minutes total for that creature throughout the entire movie. And for a fight sequence through a house that didn't need to be there. I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. But it didn't need to be there. When you could have spent more time telling me about the villain, showing me the villain, in more than a black hoodie in a dark room. That's it. That's all we really get to see of this villain. Is a black hoodie in a black room, and the villain appears 5 or 6 times, I would say, throughout the film. Sorry if you hear me swallowing a lot. I don't know why I am, but I am. So, what is that worth? Well, it's not worth a lot, that's for sure. So, we're about 10 minutes in, and I'm just going to say I gave it a C-. That is my grade. I am going to now go into spoiler territory, so if you are going to back out here, you can watch Artemis Fowl on Disney+. Not sponsored, I wish I was. That would be awesome. I wish anyone would sponsor me. Well, not anyone. You know what I'm saying. But if you would like to watch Artemis Fowl and leave your opinion in the comments, you can find it on Disney+, which is the only place. Yeah, you can find it. So, but anyway, spoiler territory now. Basically, the movie's goal is to get Artemis Fowl's dad back. He's kidnapped. And the goal is to find him and get him back, which they do accomplish. But in so, they really don't spend any time talking about the villain of the movie. Starts with an O, barely had the name mentioned. Was kind of like a side plot. Although it's part of the main plot, it felt like a side plot, basically. Like, it felt like there were 2 stories, because you have the fairies underground and you have the humans above. And they were both looking for this device that was stolen by this one fairy's father, who in reality was trying to protect it, but people thought in the fairy world that he stole, and that made him a bad guy. Well, sorry. Well, this is really seemingly the main plot of the movie, is finding this thing. Which is what the villain is after too. The villain wants this thing. So everyone's looking for this thing. So this is pretty much the main plot point of this film. But what's a villain if the villain is sitting in the shadows for the entire movie and not really doing anything? And again, earlier I mentioned that they said that Artemis Fowl couldn't think of anyone else better to help him. Except this other 12-year-old girl. Again, she did nothing. He came up with... she brought food twice in the movie. Once to Artemis and once to the fairy when they had her imprisoned. But she didn't really do anything. He came up with a plan to save his father all on himself. And after they did, well, I was excited because they started. There was several sections at the end of the movie that felt like it was the end. I was like, oh, is this the end? Oh, is this the end? Josh Gad's character also had kind of an overarch, which I kind of liked. It started with him being imprisoned and him telling the story of Artemis Fowl. And in the end, it ended with him getting whisked up by Artemis Fowl because it was all set up to kind of tell them to leave the Artemis family alone, I guess. Which was neat, but that also felt like the story. Started with him, ended with him. Was this really his movie? Or was it Artemis Fowl? It was cool how they told it, but if it ends shortly after this guy gets rescued, I guess, is it really more about him? If he's also the narrator? I didn't hate the movie. I actually enjoyed it, but it's like it ended that with them flying off in a helicopter going after the villain. Maybe a setup for a sequel, Artemis Fowl 2, going after the villain. But should it be that way? This movie could have easily been even 2.5 hours. You cut out a little bit of it. You cut out the stupidness of it. A couple of stupid sections. You could have shortened down when the first time the troll, I think it was. I do apologize again, but when the troll appeared, you cut that down a little bit. You get rid of some of the screen time for the troll. You cut it down a little bit. You get it just. The fight was okay. There was also this section. It wasn't too long, but Artemis walks to his house looking for his dad. It was a nice long shot, but still, you could have cut that down a little bit. Maybe had it be a little snippet. You see him pumping. Does this cut where he's looking in a bunch of rooms. You can cut a little time off of that, and then you add about a half hour, or maybe longer. Maybe add another hour. Again, 2.5. One more hour to wrap up the story. And again, maybe they didn't want to, because maybe they felt people wouldn't want to watch that much, and you may be right. But at least then we would have had a resolution. You could have incorporated the villain more then. Increase the length of the movie a little bit. Have the villain be more a part of the earlier sections of the film, so that when they go after the villain, you can have less time with the villain at the end. And you can get more to beating the villain. Because now if they do a TV show, well, interesting choice. If they do another movie, they have to stretch fighting this villain for an hour and a half again, which, if this movie proves anything, they can easily do that. Maybe not successfully, but they can easily do that. Sorry. I need to wrap this up because I am yawning. But I do like this movie. It was entertaining, and I didn't buy Disney Plus to watch it. And see, here's the thing. I hate hating on movies and hating on the directors and the writers and anything like that, the actors, because there's so much work and effort that went into it. It's not easy to do this kind of thing. They've mastered the art of doing it, and in sometimes short supply. But either way, still, it's not easy. And ideas aren't easy. Brilliant ideas come far and few in between, and you can tell by the number of movies that are thrown out there. At one point, Netflix was a dumping ground. Netflix, there you go, was a dumping ground for those movies. Thankfully, nowadays, there seems to be getting bigger and better titles, and some of the Netflix originals, movies and not, are good. Which I am going to try to do some movie reviews on some Netflix shows like The Babysitter and The Babysitter Killer Queen, 2 movies I absolutely love. But either way, it's highly questionable as to why this took 19 years to get out. I think it was 19 years. It was some amount of years. Yeah, it took 19 years to get out. The book came out in 2001 with movie rights to the story of a teenage super thief living in a fantasy world snapped up before it hadn't even been published. So the idea of this book in a movie was published before it even was released. So it's been since before the release date in April 2001. It took 19 years to get this out. Colin Farrell is his name. There you go. Colin Farrell, amazing actor. And again, he was good in the movie. But he also did not have a whole lot of screen time because he was the dad. And the dad was kidnapped. So, to be fair, he's probably a more expensive one, yeah. And Kenneth Branagh, who directed Thor and directed and starred in Murder on the Orient Express, was awesome. I love him as a director. And I liked the way the movie looked. I didn't have any issues with this movie and how it looked. I think he did a great job. But it's not his fault if the script is kind of, off and on. It went into production in March 2018 and it was finally given a release date August 2019. So they were able to finish it in roughly a year. But it really didn't go well. So again, and now it's streaming on Disney Plus. This movie has had a very unfortunate history, and it's just not upstanding for it. I would recommend if you have Disney Plus, I think it would be fun to watch. Buy Disney Plus for it? No. Wait until there's another movie out. And this is just my personal opinion, but I would watch the review for Mulan, and I'm not buying the $30 subscription thing additional to be able to watch Mulan on Disney Plus, or whatever it is. VIP or whatever the heck it is. I'm not buying it. I'll wait for it to come out in December and watch it with my current subscription. I am fine. I actually, not gonna lie, side note, I was not excited for Mulan. My first thought of that movie, and this is a precursor to some point, I'll do a movie review on that whenever I get around to watching it, whenever it gets on. I think it's gonna be getting on Disney Plus in December, so we will see. Normal Disney Plus, that is. But basically, my thought of the movie was I saw the trailer and I'm like, I don't even know, at this point they hadn't announced they never really announced what, like, PG-13 are. Those are R's over here in the United States. They never announced the age rating for it. And I was like, okay, well, Mulan's a beloved classic, right? So Disney's going to make it PG. You see the trailer and there's a bunch of action sequences with no blood. I'm like, really? You're going to make a PG movie where you remove the dragon? There's no songs whatsoever. No singing in this. You remove the dragon that talked, that people loved, and it's still PG, and there's fighting sequences with no blood. I'm like, this does not sound appealing. This sounds like a PG-rated movie that is not like that. Well, I found out more recently, before it came out, that it was PG-13, and I started getting hyped for it. I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Okay, good. So I was wrong, and it made me actually quite excited to watch it. And I'm still excited to watch it. Maybe I'll like it. But this person made some good points. They did some comparisons to the original, and from the way they removed some very emotional-based scenes that really put the character into Mulan. And that's not an opinion, that's just what they did. Now, whether you like it or not, it's a different opinion. I can't really speak because I haven't watched it, but I wanted to point that out. I would not, and this is my personal opinion, I just wanted to state this in case anyone watching this, because they have a relation to Disney, was thinking about getting Disney Plus. I would wait. I would get normal Disney Plus in around December if you want to watch Mulan. don't spend the extra money. Don't spend $30 additional to be able to watch it unlimitedly for the next 3 to 4 months before it comes out and is available to everybody. That's just my recommendation. Now, there are some other great things. Ratatouille in 4K, Disney Plus. I'd highly recommend, if you've never seen Ratatouille, you gotta watch Ratatouille. My favorite Pixar movie, I'd say. And I love Cars. There's a lot of movies on Disney Plus. And it's a very, very good deal. I am seriously not sponsored. I just like it. And there's a deal you can get Hulu involved too. And there's stuff on Hulu that's awesome too. It's a good idea. I'm able to watch movies that I probably wouldn't have watched otherwise. Introduced to things that I probably wouldn't watch. And now you got 20th Century Fox stuff starting to come on here. I mean, I'm sure the New Mutants is going to be on here whenever it gets out of theaters, which I did see, and I hope I can do a movie review on. It wasn't too bad. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. I enjoyed this movie, but overall it's a C minus, just because it seems so careless, and maybe that's what time does to projects. Time can ruin things like this. So many directors, so many writers, so much trouble, and at some point they're like, we have to get this out. We need to get this off our plate. 19 years we've been dealing with this, and this needs to go away. We just need to get it out. I don't care how. Make a very basic movie if you have to, but get it out. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what happened, but it feels like it. It feels like it just kind of lost carelessness. And I don't blame the director at all. I don't blame the writers. I don't blame really anybody. I just wish that maybe they would have scrapped the project rather than throw it out there. It was supposed to be in theaters, and I just don't believe that it would have been as big as they want it to be. But anyway, that's going to do this for this movie review on Artemis Fowl. I do hope you guys have enjoyed, and do look out for more in the future. I don't know. They're far and few in between. No idea when this one's coming out. But I do hope that you guys have enjoyed, and I do hope that, you like this movie review, and if you haven't seen the other ones, go check those out. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.